Hey girl, so listen, if you've been feeling a little off, like you're juggling a million different things and your energy is kind of like all over the place right now, then this video is absolutely for you. Because in today's video, I'm sharing real ways to really boost your feminine energy, especially when you're a busy woman. And if you clicked on this video, you probably are very busy. Maybe you feel tired, or maybe you're in a season where you're just not feeling like that girl. These are grounded, these are practical habits you can actually fit into a packed schedule. No fluff, no cliches, just smart, elegant upgrades to really help you feel more like yourself again. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Chic Evolution, your ultimate destination for fashion, beauty, and empowerment. I am a former top model and multiple beauty pageant winner. I've had the privilege of walking the runways from America to Europe. I've graced magazine covers, and my passion for helping others has empowered me to uplift those around me. So join me as I share insider tips on style, confidence, and living your best chic life. Because at the Chic Evolution, confidence is always in season. Welcome back to our little corner of the internet where we explore all things empowerment, all things fashion, and of course, girl, all things femininity, duh. This is actually part 2. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, feel free to check it out now or after this video. It's packed with insights on feminine energy tips that are definitely worth a good watch, especially if you are a very busy woman. Because let's be real, we know how life gets sometimes. So before we get started, you know the drill. Please do take the time to subscribe to my channel and to also like this video for more content like this. And if you are new on this channel, over here we like to start each video by lighting up a candle just for the good vibes, just to set the positive tone. And towards the end of the video, we turn it off and I send you with an uplifting affirmation. So definitely stay tuned for that so we can blow out the candle together. And today's candle is nutmeg and vanilla. Voila! So let's get right into it. My first subject on this list is flow over force. So embracing gentle discipline instead of burnout hustle. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that constant go, go, go energy. You know, feeling like you have to rush every task, be hyper productive, and earn your rest at the end of a 12-hour day. Listen, that masculine mode grind has its place. But when you live in it 24/7, it drains your feminine energy. True feminine power isn't about pushing harder, it's about finding your flow. Feminine energy works in rhythms, not straight lines. Feminine energy is cyclical, it's responsive, it's intuitive. So instead of setting 20 aggressive to-do lists for the day and then spiraling when only half of them are done, try using gentle discipline. That means having structure, but not rigidity. Think about it this way. Think of what's on my top priority today and how can I approach this task with calm and confidence. Personally, when I started honoring my flow, I became more productive without feeling frantic. I blocked my time in 90-minute focus bursts, then gave myself breaks with intention. And that specifically looked like maybe lighting up a candle, taking a walk, switching my environment. It wasn't lazy, it was strategic softness. So this mindset helps you let go of the toxic idea that rest equals laziness. Rest is where creativity, intuition, and beauty blooms. You weren't built to run like a machine. You were built to move with rhythm, to pivot when needed, and to create from overflow, not depletion. And ask yourself, do you push through or do you pause to recalibrate? The feminine woman knows to adjust without an apology. If something starts to feel forced, overwhelming, or it's like stripping away your softness constantly, that may be cue to just switch gears, not to quit, but to redirect. And remember, you can still hit your goals, but how you arrive matters. Flow over force doesn't mean slacking. It means showing up like the graceful woman you are, trusting that ease and results can coexist perfectly. So now that we've shifted out of that burnout mindset, let's talk about something just as important: how you move between the different parts of your day. Because even if you're flowing through your tasks, switching from one role to another, like work mode to home mode, can leave you feeling scattered unless you build in a moment to really reset. And that's where feminine rituals come in. One thing I've learned is that most of us transition with scroll. You know, it kind of looks like this. We close the laptop, we open Instagram, maybe Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, and suddenly it's been 45 minutes. Where has the time gone? And honestly, that doesn't even help you shift your energy. It just distracts you. Feminine energy needs intentional closure. So start here. When you finish work, light a candle, play soft music in the background, change into something cute and comfortable and cozy. That little shift signals to your body that we're entering a new space now. And your ritual really doesn't have to be elaborate. It could be as simple as tying your hair up, washing your face when you get home right away, or switching your jewelry for something more comfortable. What matters here is that it's actually just consistent and meaningful to you. Rituals are anchors. They ground you and let your nervous system know that one chapter is done and another one is beginning. And the thing is, without them, you really end up carrying the stress from one role into the next. If you work from home, this is especially key because the lines between roles get blurry when your office is your kitchen table. And you can start with something small here, like putting on a pair of earrings before a meeting and taking them off when you log off. That tiny small act can actually help you reclaim some structure and femininity in the middle of a chaotic day. It's not silly, it's strategic. And let's be honest, we're constantly being pulled into reactive mode. Calls, text, emails. Sometimes it can feel like everyone needs something from us. But when you use feminine transition rituals, you move back into intentional mode. You're not just reacting, you're choosing how you want to feel before entering the next task or the next phase. That's powerful. These rituals also help you preserve your energy. When you don't build in a pause between roles, you end up snapping or low-key resentful by the end of the night. But when you take even just 5 minutes to reset, even if it's just sitting in silence or putting on a playlist you love, you'll feel grounded again. It's a small shift that creates a massive difference in your day. So start by identifying 2 high-stress transitions in your day. Maybe yours is finishing work and starting dinner. Maybe it's waking up and getting ready. And add a short, simple ritual to soften that switch. Over time, it becomes second nature, and you'll feel the difference in how you carry yourself through the day. Once you get the hang of it, these rituals become your secret superpower. You move through the day not just efficiently, but gracefully. And that's the magic of feminine energy. It's not always loud or flashy. You know what it is? It's intentional and deeply felt. So now that you've built a beautiful in-between moments into your day, let's talk about a more subtle feminine strength: observation. In a world that tells us we need to always speak louder, act faster, and take charge to be taken seriously, there's something so powerful about being the woman who watches first, the one who doesn't need to control the room to own it. Observation isn't passive, it's intentional, and feminine energy thrives in awareness, not constant micromanagement. You don't have to fix everything. That's not your job. Sometimes the most graceful move is to notice what's happening, take a beat, and respond with thoughtfulness rather than reactivity. That's softness. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. Let's say you're in a meeting and things are getting tense between coworkers. Old you would have jumped in, maybe tried to smooth it over, maybe even overcompensate to make the vibe feel lighter for everyone. People-pleasing energy? Am I speaking to you right now? But instead, new you may choose to just stay quiet first, to watch the dynamics, and to let things play out, allowing the responsible parties to smooth things over. Afterward, though, you can always offer one thoughtful observation that shifts the tone without overextending where it's not always needed. And you know what that is? That is actual feminine leadership. You move with calm, clarity, not chaos. This skill also shows in how we care about others. Whether it's noticing a friend is quieter than usual or sensing someone's mood before they even speak. Observation also builds trust. It's a form of love that says, hey, I see you, without needing to be center stage. It doesn't have to feel, or it doesn't have to be romantic to be powerful. It can be the way you silently refill someone's water. It could be just straightening their coat or remembering their favorite snack after a long day. And you know what? Feminine observation also helps you with boundaries. When you learn to notice your own patterns, when you're overstimulated, when you're people pleasing, when your body is saying slow down, you really begin to parent yourself better. You give yourself permission to pause, give yourself permission to respond with intention, not impulse. So try this. Next time you walk into a room, don't rush to fill the space with conversation or performance. Just observe. Look around and see who's sharing the most, who seems a little bit more anxious. Where do you feel drawn? This practice keeps you grounded and helps you lead with presence, not pressure. And this also works well in conversations. So observing before responding makes you magnetic. You're not just waiting for your turn to talk, you're listening intentionally. You're really being present. And people can feel that difference. And in a world that is full of noise, girl, your stillness becomes striking. The elegance of just observing is quiet, but it's also unforgettable. You're not detaching, you're engaging with clarity. You're moving through the world with curiosity, with compassion, and control over yourself, not others. And that, my friend, is a kind of power that cannot be taught. It can only be cultivated. So once you start paying attention to how your presence moves through a room, you will realize there's something else quietly working in your favor. What you choose to wear. And no, I'm not talking about being trendy or being expensive. I'm talking about adornment as energy. The little choices you make with texture, with color, with metals or fabrics, they're not just aesthetic. They're vibrational sometimes. They change how you feel, how others feel around you. Think about it. Have you ever worn earrings that just make you stand up straighter? Or slid on a silk pajama set that just makes you feel softer? That's not your imagination, girl. The items we put on aren't just accessories, they are cues. They help us drop into a feeling, a version of ourselves that we may not always access when we're rushing around in leggings and yesterday's hoodie. Jewelry can be an instant magnetic upgrade. You can be in a messy bun and no makeup, but the moment you put on a pair of gold hoops or a stack of rings, something in you shifts. You will feel more composed, more grounded. It's not about impressing anyone. It's really about how you show up for yourself. And girl, that shift radiates. Even if you're just running errands or sitting at a desk, the same goes for color. So certain colors carry different emotional tones. Think of deep burgundy because that might make you feel regal. Soft pastels might help you embody grace. Earth tones can root you. When you choose colors with intention, even if it's just a scarf, your water bottle, maybe your phone case, it becomes a silent extension of your mood. And honestly, that is feminine energy. Quiet, deliberate, and magnetic. And textures, let's not forget about that. Don't underestimate them. A nice fuzzy sweater, a cool metal pendant, a smooth leather bag. These things engage your senses. And when you engage your senses, you come back to yourself. That's huge, especially for busy women who sometimes live in their heads full of responsibilities and a bunch of to-do lists. Texture is an easy way to soften and return to the moment. And one small start for you could just be keeping a silk scrunchie in your purse or in your bag. And whenever you feel a bit frazzled, you can just use it to pull your hair up, not just because it's practical, but because the feel of it can remind you to be gentle again with yourself. It's really a small little ritual of softness you can carry everywhere with you. And that's what adornment as energy is all about, embedding care into the ordinary. The key here isn't to just dress up for no reason. It's to use your adornments as tools to set a mood, claim a vibe, or shift your own energy without saying a single word. Even a change as small as switching from plastic studs to natural stones can change the feeling of how you carry yourself. So, the next time you're choosing what to wear or accessories to reach for, don't just ask, what looks good? Ask, what do I want to feel today? Because here's the thing, when your outfit supports your energy, you move through the world with a quiet kind of power. And people notice. Most importantly, you notice. So girl, now that we've explored how adornment can subtly shift your energy, let's talk about something even deeper. Quiet confidence. The kind that doesn't need to sparkle, shout, or prove anything to anyone. I call it slow burn confidence because it's not flashy, but it lingers. And that's what makes it unforgettable, to be quite honest. And in a world obsessed with being viral, being loud, and grabbing attention, feminine energy thrives in something different: presence. So think about that woman who walks in a room without needing to say much, but everyone still notices. Her confidence doesn't come from being extra. It comes from being anchored in herself. And that naturally brings people towards her. That's the energy we're channeling here. True feminine confidence isn't about being the center of attention. It's about being centered within yourself. It's about knowing that you bring value without having to advertise it. This shows up in how you listen to others, how you hold eye contact, how you pause before responding. It's subtle, but it's powerful. When you stop performing and start embodying, everything changes. Instead of chasing approval, you start practicing respect. People lean into that, not because you're trying to be mysterious just for the sake of being mysterious, but because you're comfortable with your own energy, you're comfortable with who you are and who you are becoming, girl. That's where people draw in because it's not just felt, it's noticed. And you know, one way to build this slow burn energy is to practice being still in moments of discomfort. When there's silence in conversation and you feel the urge to fill it, don't. Let it sit. Let yourself take up space without rushing to entertain or to over-explain or overcompensate, because you know what? You just being is enough. That stillness is where your power lives. Another trick that I have here for you is to become really good at being unbothered. Not cold, not even dismissive, but in that I know who I am kind of way. If someone disagrees with you or doesn't get you, let that be okay. You don't need to change the essence of your identity to be understood or to be accepted. So, next time you're tempted to overcompensate, pause, remind yourself that you don't have to prove anything to anyone to be valuable. Let your energy speak first, because the most captivating women don't need to try to impress. They make you feel calm, they make you feel seen, and a little bit curious. And that is slow burn confidence. So building that kind of quiet confidence requires something else too, a better relationship with time, because nothing kills feminine energy faster than rushing, frantic, always late, multitasking mess. We've been there, but it doesn't have to be your default. You know, feminine energy thrives in presence, and presence doesn't exist well in panic mode. That's why learning to move without tension is a game changer. And here's the thing, you can still be busy, but you don't have to move like it all the time. When you slow down just a little, even just mentally slow down, you start to feel more grounded. You start to feel more elegant and way more in control. Many people think that being on top of things means scheduling every second of the day, but you'll end up tired if you do that. You may even end up being snappy for no reason. Well, actually, you'll have a reason, but you'll be snappy. And maybe you'll never feel like you're getting things done. So you should leave just little pockets of time here and there. 10 minutes between meetings, 5 minutes to breathe before responding to a message. That space helps you move with grace instead of chaos. Even simple changes can help. So try setting your alarm 15 minutes earlier, not to do more things, but to do the same things slowly. sipping your coffee instead of chugging it before work, choosing your outfit without rushing that Saturday morning. It's the energy of I respect myself enough to move at the pace that feels human, not robotic. This isn't about being slow for the sake of it. It's about creating internal space. Because you know what? When your nervous system isn't on overdrive, you think clearer, you communicate better, and carry yourself differently. You're not frantic, you're focused. You don't panic, you pivot. You see that? And the truth is, people respond differently to a woman who's not in a rush constantly. She seems more in control, more thoughtful, even more magnetic. That's because her energy says, I'm not chasing time, I'm aligned with time. And that's a completely different vibe than someone who's constantly rushing behind and apologizing constantly. So if you're someone who's always in a rush, this is your sign to soften your schedule just a little bit. Give yourself a grace buffer. You'll be surprised how much more beautiful the day feels when you stop treating every task like an emergency, because most of the time, it's not always that way. And now that you're reclaiming your time and pace, let's go inward for a second, into your emotional world. Because here's the thing. Feminine energy feels deeply, you know what I mean? But feeling deeply doesn't mean you have to carry everything. Let me just drink some water. Because there's a difference between emotional depth and emotional overload. Many of us were raised to believe that being nurturing means absorbing everybody else's pain. Some of us were taught that being compassionate means being constantly available to everyone. But true emotional mastery means holding space for others without losing yourself in the process. You do get to have empathy and boundaries. This might look like listening to a friend vent, but not letting their crisis ruin your whole day. Or even caring about a family member's problem, but not jumping in to fix it when it's clearly not your responsibility to do so. This isn't cold, it's wise. Emotional overfunctioning isn't femininity, it's codependency dressed in softness. So start checking in with yourself and ask yourself, do I have the emotional capacity for this right now? And if you don't, you can still offer love without sacrificing your own peace in that moment. You can say something like, I care about you and I want to support you, but can we talk about this later? I'm feeling really depleted right now. That's grace and boundaries. Feminine emotional mastery also means feeling your emotions fully, not stuffing them, not exploding them. Because you know what? It's okay to cry. It's okay to be tender. It's okay to need a moment. You're human. But the key is you don't let those emotions run the show. You hold them with care and then you move through them. And you know, one thing that can help with this is to create emotional release rituals. So by that I mean journaling, walking, stretching, music too. All of these let your feelings process without turning into a meltdown. You're honoring your inner world without letting it control your external reality. Remember, your ability to feel is part of your power. It's not a weakness. But just like any power, it needs to be managed with intention. And truly, that's what makes it feminine, not chaotic, but deep, beautiful, and grounded. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this video and these tips are resonating with you, please like and subscribe. It really helps me grow and lets me know that the content is really resonating with you. And girl, if you're feeling extra sweet today, click that super thanks button. It's basically like a virtual hug. And if you're not ready for that yet, that's okay. Just keep watching because I've got a few more gems that might just win you over. Now that we've grounded your emotions, let's zoom out a little bit and look at your environment, because feminine energy doesn't just live inside you. It's also shaped by the spaces around you. And if your space is chaotic, if your space is cluttered or just uninspiring, your energy will reflect that too. Enter soft power zone. A soft power zone is a little corner, physical or digital, where you can feel like your best self, It doesn't have to be big or fancy. It just has to make you feel nourished. So think of it like a mini sanctuary, a place where your nervous system can just exhale. Even if the rest of your world is loud right now, it can start with a candle and a soft playlist at your desk. That little shift changes how you work. Maybe a velvet chair in the corner of your bedroom just for sipping tea and for reflecting. And in the car, you can keep a fabric pouch with essential oil rollers, hand lotion, and a tiny mirror. Just small touches that make you feel more cared for. You can even do this with a drawer, a nightstand, or even your phone screen. Create spaces that whisper, "You're allowed to slow down here." Maybe it's a bathroom shell with face mist and affirmations. Maybe it's turning your phone home screen into something calm and visually soothing. These soft zones are really where you return to yourself. They become a ritual of feminine self-respect. When the world demands more, your space reminds you to be more, not to do more. And when people come into your space, they also feel it. They won't always know why, but they'll feel calmer, more grounded, and more drawn to the energy you've cultivated. Because your environment isn't just decor, it's a silent teacher. So just look around. What areas of your life could use a bit more softness? And it's not about perfection, it's about intention here. And when your space reflects your energy, you move through the day with more grace, with more clarity, and just more joy. So we've already explored how to express feminine energy through movement and space, but now let's talk about the power of your words. Language is one of the most direct extensions of your energy. It's how people experience your inner world. It's how you teach them to treat you. When your vocabulary is rushed, constantly apologetic, or unclear, it really chips away at your presence. But when your words are intentional, when your words are grounded and graceful, you create a kind of approach that doesn't require volume, but is felt. One of the biggest shifts you can make is learning to stop shrinking your sentences. And by that, I mean sentences like, "I just wanted to ask," or "Sorry, I was wondering if maybe." We use these phrases out of habit, not realizing that they sometimes come from a place of seeking approval. But here's the truth. You don't need to shrink your words to sound polite. Feminine speech can be soft and still stand tall on its own. Instead of just checking in, try following up. Instead of, "I might be wrong, but," try, "Here's my perspective." It's really a shift from self-doubt to self-assurance, and people can feel the difference. Another upgrade could just be swapping reactive language for responsive language. So instead of jumping into explanations or defensiveness, try pausing and using phrases like, "That's an interesting point. Let me think on it." Or phrases like, "Let me get back to you with a thoughtful answer." These small delays create space. They show that you're not operating on panic mode or people-pleasing mode. You're operating from clarity, and that clarity earns you respect without even having to demand it. And this also works even when expressing disagreements. So girls, say someone oversteps or makes a comment that's a bit off. Rather than snapping or staying silent, try something like, "That doesn't sit well with me." Or you can even say something like, "That's not something I'm available for." It's respectful, but it still asserts your boundary. You're not shutting down the conversation. You're just redirecting it from a place of self-respect. And personally, what I've noticed is that feminine energy or feminine vocabulary doesn't mean flowery or fluffy. It means curated, like a fragrance you wear. Your words should reflect your essence. That might be playful, poetic, it could be crisp. There's no right way to sound feminine, but there's power in choosing language that aligns with who you are and who you want to be known for. Think about the women in your life you admire, how they speak. Chances are they're not the loudest all the time. They're the most intentional. And one thing that can help is curating a few go-to phrases that you could use in moments of stress. So instead of panicking when a call gets tense or a text needs a careful tone, you rely on things like, "Let's revisit this when we're both clearer," or a sentence like, "Thank you for your honesty. I need a moment to process." These phrases become tools that preserve your energy and avoid unnecessary conflict, which is key for staying in your feminine flow. And of course, tone matters too. You can say something powerful in a soft tone and it will land. And that's why you should always remind yourself to speak with kindness, not tension. And as women, we need to remember that it's okay to take up vocal space with calm authority. Don't race through points like you're trying not to be a burden, because you're not a burden. Speak like you belong in the conversation, because you know what? You do. The more you practice this, the more it becomes natural. You'll begin to trust your voice in rooms where you once doubted it. So, if you're working on upgrading your feminine energy, don't skip over your words. They're not just tools for communication, they are instruments of energy. And sometimes, with every sentence, you either soften your power or sharpen it. So choose to be the kind of woman who says less, but says it with weight. Because when your words are grounded, so is your presence. And that's the kind of feminine energy that speaks long after you've left the room. And once you start speaking with more intention, it's natural to become aware of another huge part of your feminine presence, your movements, girl. The way you walk, the way you sit, the gestures you use, or even the way you reach for a cup says so much before you even open your mouth. And here's the thing, this isn't about being graceful for other people, no. It's about being aware of how your body moves through space and making those movements feel aligned with the energy you're trying to embody. You don't need to perform, femininity lives within you. You just need to be more present in that, to be more present in your body. So many of us are living in our heads. We're rushing around. We're disconnected from how we're moving, and our bodies are stuck in that survival mode, in that fight or flight mode, because we're constantly busy. When you're always clenching your jaw, hunching your shoulders, or walking like you're bracing for impact, girl, you're signaling stress, even if you don't mean to. That's why cultivating a feminine movement style starts with just slowing down. And I mean literally slowing down. Move 10% slower. Lift your hand with intention. Unclench your face. It sounds small, but it's really the reset your nervous system is craving. So try this. You can try filming yourself walking to check your posture, and you can start working on small changes, rolling your shoulders back, letting your arms relax when you're walking. And maybe nobody notices those small details, but you will feel them, and your energy will become more grounded instantly. Because feminine movement isn't about looking like a ballerina or copying someone else's style. Absolutely not. It's about finding your own rhythm. Maybe it's fluid and playful. Maybe it's quiet and composed. The key is to stop rushing and start noticing. Notice how you sit in meetings. Notice how you open doors. Notice how you exit the room. Then refine those moments. Not because someone is watching, girl, but because you're watching. You're creating consistency in your softness and in your expressions. One of my favorite practices is to pair movement with music. I'll play something soft or elegant and walk around my space with intention. No phones, no multitasking, just walking. It's basically movement meditation. It's recalibrating how I carry myself. Try it for 5 minutes before a presentation or before a social event or just as a midday reset. This reconnects you to your body in a way that feels effortless and calming. You can also build micro movements into your everyday rituals. Sip your tea slowly. Apply lotion with intention. Tilt your head gently when you're listening. All of those tiny little cues communicate presence, poise, and softness. It's not about theatrical gestures, it's about intentional ones. Feminine energy isn't always loud, but it's incredibly noticeable when your body moves like it's not in a rush to prove anything to anyone. And this kind of embodiment is what makes people feel drawn to you, even if they don't even know why they are drawn to you. You're not trying to impress, you're simply in sync with yourself. And that calm, intentional energy is magnetic in a world that's moving too fast and barely noticing anything. You start to stand out more, not because of what you're doing, but because of how you're doing it. So, whether you're walking into a room or simply pouring a glass of water, ask yourself, am I moving with presence or am I rushing through the moment? Because the way you move throughout the day can be one of the most powerful expressions of your femininity. And this is all in your hands. You have control of it. After mastering how you move, let's talk about how you protect that precious energy of yours. Because once you've built a more elegant, intentional presence, the next challenge is learning to maintain it in a world that can feel very chaotic and draining at times. This is where energy hygiene comes in. And no, it's not some weird spiritual ritual, it's basic emotional maintenance. Just like you wash your face or brush your teeth, you need a routine that helps you stay emotionally and mentally clean. That rhymed. I just realized that. You need a routine to help you stay mentally clean. Period. Anyways, when you're deeply feminine, you're always deeply receptive. That's a strength, but it can also make you vulnerable at times because you're going to absorb other people's moods, stress, and chaos if you're not careful. So have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt overwhelmed, even though nothing was said out loud? That's your energetic boundary being tested. And if you don't have systems in place to clear that off, it'll stay with you for hours or even days because you can still feel that heaviness. I like to think of energy hygiene as emotional filtering. You don't shut down or detach. You simply decide what you let in and what you let linger. Start by noticing how you feel after interactions with certain people or environments. Do you leave energized or do you leave drained? That answer will tell you everything you need to know about what needs boundaries and what needs more space in your life. And you can create energy hygiene rituals around transitions. After a long day of work, for example, don't just crash into your next task. Wash your hands with intention. Take 5 minutes of just quiet. Or change your clothes into something soft and comfortable. That little moment says, I'm clearing out the past energy and starting fresh. And same goes for after emotional conversations. Journal, stretch, or step outside for a moment. It doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to be intentional. Another tip that I have for you is to use technology with discernment. The group chat doesn't need your constant attention. You don't have to respond to every DM right away. Your phone doesn't need to be the first thing you reach in the morning. And honestly, that message goes for me too, because emotional clutter is real. And a big part of energy hygiene is learning to pause before letting someone else in your mental space. Boundaries are also a form of energy protection. And I don't mean walls, I really mean doorways. You get to choose who comes through and how long. It's okay to love people and still say, I'm not available for that kind of energy right now. That's not cold, that's wise. You're not shutting them out, you're keeping your energy whole. You're keeping yourself whole. The better your energy hygiene gets, the more stable your mood becomes. You don't spiral as easily. You don't overextend yourself. And most importantly, you stop carrying things that were never yours to begin with. And that's what makes you feel lighter. Not because life is easy, but because your emotional load is cleaner now. And protecting your peace isn't about isolation. It's about choosing what energy you carry and letting the rest pass through. Because you can't radiate softness, grounded femininity if you're constantly absorbing chaos. And you don't owe anyone an apology for choosing calm. You really don't. And now that you've learned how to protect your energy from the outside world, let's zoom in on how to nurture that energy from the inside. And one of the easiest ways to do that is through texture. I know it sounds simple, but texture is one of the fastest tools to reconnect with your feminine senses, especially when life feels overstimulating or rushed. So your beautiful skin is one of the most sensitive gateways to your nervous system, and it responds instantly to how things feel. Think about it. There's a reason why we intrinsically reach for soft blankets, wrap ourselves in cozy sweaters, or just choose certain fabrics over others. Because texture tells your body you're safe, you're held, you're here. And in a world that constantly pulls us into our head, texture pulls us back into our body. It reminds you that you're not just a brain on a to-do list. You're a woman who feels, who experiences, who gets to enjoy even the smallest moments. Daily texture therapy doesn't mean living in a silk robe 24/7, although if you can, go for it. But it really means intentionally choosing one or two things every day that reconnects you to your senses. You know, maybe it's the cool weight of your tea mug in the morning. Maybe it's as simple as slipping on velvet slippers when you get home. It could even just be keeping a warm compress on your neck while you journal. These aren't necessarily luxuries, but they are grounding practices. When you're in survival mode, these touches may seem unnecessary, but when you're in feminine energy, you realize that they're the difference between rushing through the day and experiencing the day. And you know what? You can probably even keep a mini texture kit on your nightstand. You can have in there a soft hand lotion, a jade roller, or even a textured hair tie. And on especially hard days, you can use these small items as reset buttons. They bring you back to yourself in seconds. And texture works during emotional overload as well. If you've had a very long day and you're almost on the edge of tears or just mentally exhausted, we've all had those days. We're all human, right? During those days, try stepping into your shower and letting that water just hit your back like a massage, or brush your hair slowly, or you can even wrap yourself in a thick blanket and put on a soft eye mask. That sensory feedback calms your system. It quiets the noise. It reminds you that you're cared for, even if no one else is doing it. You are. And this is especially helpful during transitions, like waking up, winding down, or just coming home after work. Use these moments as texture check-ins. What does your body want to feel right now? Is it cotton? Is it warmth? Is it silk? Is it pressure? Is it softness? Is it all of the above? Answering that question helps you step into your feminine without needing a full spa day. Although if you can, go for it. Just don't forget your environment. So adding layers of texture to your space, like a faux fur rug, a wooden tray, it could be a satin pillow, it could even be a stone coaster. These micro details build an atmosphere that quietly supports your energy. They don't scream luxury. You know what they do? They whisper care, and that's all you need sometimes. And the more your space reflects that energy, the easier it is to stay grounded in it. Feminine energy is deeply sensory. It thrives when your body feels safe, when your body feels supported and soothed. So next time your nervous system feels on edge or your energy feels off, ask yourself, what texture do I need today? Then give yourself permission to receive it, not as a reward, but as a peaceful ritual, as a reminder that it's okay to slow down. So let's stay on that theme of intentional softness for a moment, but shift into something even more subtle, invisible grace. This is the kind of femininity no one sees, but you feel. It's how you treat yourself and the world when no one else is watching. Because true elegance isn't just about how you show up in public, it's also about how you carry yourself in private. It's the quiet decisions that reinforce your self-respect and leave a lasting impression on your day. And you know, girl, one of the most underrated forms of feminine power is private politeness. And I'm talking about closing doors softly, putting things back where they belong, speaking kindly to yourself in the mirror, and even just saying thank you to your body after a long day of running errands is something. These aren't performance gestures. They are rituals of care. And when you do them constantly, they change how you see yourself, even if no one else is paying attention. There is something so beautiful about moving through the world with reverence for your environment. It's not about perfection. It should never be about perfection here. It's really about honoring the little things, fluffing the pillow before bed, folding your clothes with intention, wiping down a counter with calm instead of irritation. These actions say I create peace. They also say I protect my space. And they also build trust within yourself. Because you know what? You're the kind of woman who adds grace to the ordinary. You don't need an event for you to just pause and enjoy life. Invisible grace also extends to how you speak about others behind closed doors. Do you keep your language graceful, even when you're frustrated? Do you pause before gossiping or venting? Your words shape your intentional landscape. And I know no one is perfect, and we may probably still make these mistakes in the future. But just reminding yourself that speaking with restraint and kindness, even in private, nurtures a cleaner, more peaceful emotional world. And that's not about being fake, it's about being centered. And also, how do you treat yourself when no one is around? Are you harsh? Are you dismissive? Or do you thank yourself for what you got done, even if it wasn't everything on your to-do list? Practicing grace with yourself might mean looking in the mirror and choosing not to criticize yourself that day. Or pausing to say, I did my best today, and you know what? That's enough. These moments, I know they seem so small, but they build inner safety, something that every woman needs to protect her softness. Invisible grace shows up in how you move through stress. Do you slam doors when you're frustrated? Do you huff and storm around? Or do you breathe through it and choose to not let the chaos shape your response? And you really don't have to suppress how you feel, but grace gives you the space to feel without losing your dignity in the process all the time. And what we often forget is that there's elegance in doing things gently, even when it would be easier to move fast or rough. Whether it's lighting a candle for yourself after cleaning, or placing your jewelry down with intention instead of tossing it next to your bed. These are acts of invisible devotion. They tell your nervous system, this moment matters. They don't need an audience, they just need you. So if you've ever wondered how to deepen your feminine energy without doing anything flashy, start here. Please start with how you treat yourself, because the most refined women aren't defined by how they look. They are remembered by how their energy was felt. And that feeling is built in private. So to close out this video, let's talk about your mental and emotional diet too. We're used to curating what we wear, but how often do we curate what we consume? Your femininity isn't just affected by your clothes or your routine, it's also shaped by what you allow into your head and your heart every single day. And that includes your media, your music, your conversations, your thoughts, all of it. Feminine energy is strong, feminine energy is powerful, but it's also sensitive by nature. Because you know what? What you feed your mind becomes what you speak, and that becomes how you respond. And then it becomes how your body holds stress. If you're constantly consuming loud, chaotic, aggressive content, that's going to reflect in your nervous system, even if you don't realize it, even if you're not doing it on purpose. This doesn't mean cutting out the news or pretending the world is perfect, because it's not. It means creating balance. So let me give you an example. For every high drama TV show, have a calming podcast. For every intense news update, make space for something uplifting. For every conversation that drains you, seek one that fills your cup. That balance keeps you sharp without becoming cyclical. It keeps you soft without becoming numb. So start by observing how you feel after watching or listening to something. Does it energize you, or does it deplete you completely? Do you feel inspired, or do you feel anxious around certain things or certain people, friends, family, or anyone? Curating your intake doesn't mean living in a bubble. It means filtering what supports your mental clarity and emotional softness, of course. And when you're soft and clear, you're powerful. Even your physical space counts here. The voices in your feed, the sounds in your home, and the messages on your phone lock screen, those are all forms of input. When you surround yourself with beauty, when you surround yourself with softness and with wisdom, your mind begins to reflect it. And suddenly, your thoughts are more graceful, your mood becomes more stable, your energy becomes magnetic. Also, you should audit your conversation. And by that, I mean, ask yourself, are you spending your emotional bandwidth on topics that build you up, or the ones that keep you in a loop of stress? You don't have to cut people off, but you can redirect that energy. You can steer things towards solution, towards appreciation, or even simple silence. That's not rude, that's proactive. You're not just consuming here, you're choosing. And personally, I recommend creating a few personal intake rituals. It could be reading something nourishing in the morning instead of jumping into social media. It could mean keeping a playlist of calming music for background noise instead of chaotic content. It could also mean just taking in fewer opinions and listening more to your own. These tiny shifts help you keep your inner world stable, even when the outer world is noisy at times. And at the end of the day, feminine energy flourishes in intentional environments. You get to decide what comes in your world and what stays, but also what you can release. And the more deliberate you are in what you consume, the more effortless it becomes for you to just stay soft, for you to just stay sharp and rooted in who you truly are. And this brings us to the end of this video. If you stayed with me all the way through, thank you so much. It means a lot that you've spent your time here choosing to pour back into yourself in a way that's gentle and in a way that's grounded and truly transformative. These feminine practices may be quiet, but their impact is real and it's lasting. This isn't about protection or about aesthetic routines. It's about how you feel when no one else is watching, how you speak to yourself, how you carry your energy when things get busy, when life gets loud, or sometimes messy, because sometimes it feels like that. You know what you should take away? That you deserve to move through your day with softness, with strength, and I hope that something in this video reminded you of that. So if you've enjoyed this video and want more content like this, go ahead and subscribe so that you never miss on anything new. You're always welcomed here. This space is for you. And if you feel inspired to support this channel, you can also click on the super thanks button below. Think of it as a little digital love note that helps me keep creating videos and content like this. Content that will continue to nurture your feminine energy and elevate your everyday life. Let me know in the comments also, which tip are you going to start with? Or even better, tell me which one you are already doing. Sometimes the most powerful thing is realizing that you've been holding that grace all along. You just needed a little reminder. And if there's a friend, a sister, or someone in your life who could use a little bit of calm, confidence, and elegance, feel free to share this video with them as well. Now, before I let you go, it is now time to turn off the candle that we lit at the beginning of the video. So my chic babes, until our next encounter, let your uniqueness shine, let your self-love grow, and let your confidence inspire. And I'll see you when I will see you sooner than later. There you go. It is a wrap. This was such a good video to film. I just feel